Big boom bappy, sling slong slappy, ding a doom, back a get lig a giggy goo, boy. All right, everybody, welcome to yet another installment into our deep dive into the Batverse. Welcome to SuperHouse, everybody. This is Andrew, your main squeeze. And I also have Ben.
Yes, hello.
Not a correspondent anymore, a full-on member.
Senior Batman co-host, everybody.
Yeah.
And that other voice you're hearing is a voice you haven't heard in such a long time.
He's returned from the cold. He's been thawed out.
Huh? Oh yeah. I always forget your name. Wolfie.
Good old, I'm back, motherfuckers. I got lost. I was lost on the way to podcasting.
Oh man, but at least you made it back here, man.
Found my way
Triumphant
back.
return. All right, I'll stop trying to
man.
impersonate Michael Ansar. So we're continuing today the deep dive of our Batman movies. And after Batman and Robin, one would think we'd go into Batman Begins, but that's not quite true because we are going into the animated movie that came out right after Batman and Robin, the much superior, better received Batman and Mr. Freeze, SubZero.
Finish him.
Not that SubZero.
Get over her.
That actually is very applicable to
seriously.
Freeze's plight.
You're right.
So, like, some nostalgia stuff on this one, I think. Andrew hadn't seen this one before today.
Not at all.
I had rented this on like Blockbuster. Remember, this was 1998. After Batman and Robin, because I wanted to see what the internet was talking about, because everybody on the internet was just like, "This is a better movie than Batman and Robin, so much better," and everything. I definitely remember the ending, but I don't remember it necessarily having the same impact on me as like other live-action Batman. Again, like Batman and Robin, as I said in the last episode, which you guys should have listened to by now, I didn't really have a lot of memories at all, good or bad, of Batman and Robin. It was just not that big of an impact on me emotionally as compared to any of the previous ones. Similar thing with SubZero. I just didn't really have that big of an impact on it. I think I was too young to really appreciate character moments.
So whenever you finished watching this movie as a kid,
I was like, it was all right.
That's okay.
It's cool. It's
Okay.
it's like me watching the Batman animated series. Like now, I have a completely different opinion. But at the time, I was just like, all right, it's cool. And then we just returned to Blockbuster. Didn't really think about it much later. Yeah,
Okay.
until like way later. So,
Well, it's more than I did. I fucking
Right.
I remember seeing these advertisements around. I don't even know where I saw them. Maybe EGM magazine, the video game magazine I used to.
Really?
But I did not rent it. I think I was a fan of the show, of course, but I think maybe by that time I was playing too much Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. You know,
Was it 98?
came out in '99, I think.
no, it was 88.
Way-
I mean, you
way
mean
too-
Pro Skater.
Okay, I thought you
Pro
were
Skater
talking
came out like
about
'99
SubZero,
or something, man. So it was around that time. Anyway,
I think I saw I remember Fox Kids had made a big hullabaloo about Batman Sub-Zero or whatever, and being like, I gotta see that, but I don't think I saw it like right away.
Okay.
I think I didn't see it till maybe a couple years later, and they did like special presentation.
You
We're
were in
gonna
high
play
school?
Bat. Yeah, it must have been.
Okay.
But I think it was like a special presentation maybe a year after it actually came out, and it was just like, we're gonna play Batman Sub-Zero in full, like they used to do that kind of thing. Maybe it might even been like a primetime Sunday night thing.
oh, it was a movie on TV.
Yeah, where
Okay.
they played it, but I didn't remember a whole lot of it until like when we watched it. There's only a few shots that I really remembered.
Okay.
Also, it was interesting for me to watch because just right off the bat, rewatching Batman the Animated Series for me these days just gets kind of boring because I've seen the episodes so many times, and I kind of know the pattern and I know the different moments. And yes, like they did a great job, but like these days, I'd actually much rather watch some of the other cartoons of Batman just because they feel more new to me. I haven't watched them as much.
Brave and the Bold and all that shit.
I watched Brave and the Bold, Beware the Batman from 2004, like all those.
God, the CG
I would rewatch.
one, right?
The CG, Beware the Batman's the CG one. They did a lot of interesting takes on the different characters, but
that one wasn't bad. They canceled it so quickly.
There was a CG one? I didn't even know that.
yeah, it was a 3 CG one. They did a lot of different takes on it. So like Alfred was like more in the vein of the Earth One Alfred, or the Sean Pertwee Alfred from Gotham, who's like has been training him since he was a kid in how to fight and everything. So he's like a tough Alfred. And everything, and then like Katana is the one who actually becomes like his first sidekick and everything.
Yeah,
and they like avoided.
Katana?
Yeah,
from Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Weird.
and like she had like a weird back because like her father used to be SAS agents with Alfred and Alfred's partner. So like she kind of considers him to be his surrogate uncle, just like Bruce considers him to be the surrogate dad. So like they have that connection and everything. And Bruce was more of a detective in general in that show and was training her to be a detective. So it was really cool.
The CG aspect of it also made it to where they could do crazy camera movement.
Yeah. And some people were criticizing it, but I think it's just the nostalgia for the animated series, I think, is strong enough to a point that whenever there's a new Batman animated series, it's always going to get compared and everyone's going to think it's inferior. And I just don't think that's fair because I think it's
classic.
Yeah, like
Bruce
it's like that's classic.
version.
I don't want to see another version of Batman the animated series. It had its own version. I want to see different shit. So
Unless he's beyond, baby.
Oh, yeah.
That was my favorite alternate take, I think.
Member berries.
Lots
dude,
of
strong.
You remember that? That sick drum and bass opening. Anyway.
Yeah.
Gothy and clubby.
Oh, in this movie in SubZero?
No, Batman Beyond.
No, Batman Beyond. The
Oh,
opening of
Batman
Batman Beyond is
yeah,
very
yeah,
much
yeah, yeah,
edgy,
yeah,
man.
into that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was when I was watching this. It was like it's like watching a new episode I'd never seen of the animated series before. Even though I did see it, but like,
it's been so
I don't
long.
remember.
Yeah.
So I was not. It wasn't the same. Like, oh, I'm kind of bored by this because I've seen Heart of Ice 200,000 times.
Right.
This one's just like okay, like I didn't remember that part. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. On here, I don't remember at all. I would think I remember this. Don't remember the opening being the Danny Elfman Batman theme in like a 90s CG version of like going through the insignia a little bit. That was cool.
It was like they just played that like a short excerpt of that classic tune, and then it was just like, okay, next composer who actually did the music.
Yeah,
in the movie.
right,
It's
right.
so different.
The theme isn't really in the rest of the movie.
And then he
yeah.
just basically carbon copied the soundtrack from The Mask. It sounded like
yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, there's like this weird like
lot of
jazz
swing.
beat throughout the rest of
Yeah.
Some
it.
smooth jazz
Yeah.
there even.
The best music is definitely the stuff involving Mr. Freeze that you hear at like the end credits or stuff with Nora.
I like that a
all
lot,
that.
too.
That's very nice and haunting and everything. So I guess we could I'll start jumping into the actual MVP because the thing is it's called Batman versus Batman and Mr. Freeze SubZero, but Batman actually isn't that big of a player in this.
This was the biggest surprise about the movie.
Especially after Mask of the Phantasm. Mask of the
yeah.
Phantasm is so much about Bruce Wayne and Andrea Beaumont.
I wonder, this is probably what they were feeling at the time. They're like, hey, we're so far into this series. We've done so much Batman. We also made the Citizen Kane of Batman films.
Right.
So we're gonna give Barbara and Robin their due and give them amazing action scenes and make them both seem badass as fuck.
As well
and
as
then
explore,
Batman will do some OG shit at the end.
Yeah.
And then, he's going to definitely, like, steal the show, of course, at the end of it. But until then, there's going to be so much of the supporting cast.
Right, yeah. I do wonder how much of that was because the studio was like, hey, we're releasing Batman and Robin. You got to emphasize Robin and Batgirl Mr. Freeze.
Right.
Which they did well. I mean, it's because there's the tie-in to the animated series that they can kind of get away with, like not having much of Bruce Wayne, because it's really not Bruce Wayne's story at all in this one. It's more of Barbara's story. It's more of Mr. Freeze's story in this one. So, like Dick Grayson is definitely a smarter, better version than the Chris O'Donnell one that we saw in Batman and Robin in the previous year.
Yeah,
he's more active. We see a little bit of the acrobatic skills come into play when he's when he has to swing from that tree back to safety after the motorcycle crashes. So that was pretty cool.
Right.
Barbara is definitely a better representation of the Barbara Gordon character than Barbara Wilson.
Every single thing she does is badass in this movie.
Yeah, like she's definitely not. Even though she's been taken, she's not the damsel in distress.
Right.
In this, she's trying to fight her way out. She's an active character. She's arguably probably more of a protagonist in this than Bruce Wayne or Dick Grayson. Probably second only to Mr. Freeze himself.
Like she is. They do set it up to where like she is like this female character that needs saving, but at the same time she's so badass in her own right. And also the story is explained so well as far as like he needs a female donor
of the same
same blood
body
type.
build. Yeah.
So I guess it lends itself to him kidnapping a woman. So you know it plays with those old tropes, but
it's really genius, honestly, to have that connection or tie that in even more.
Yeah.
I mean, she has she's brought into this way better than Barbara Wilson was in Batman and Robin last week.
Well, yeah, that was ridiculous.
There's no random motorcycle subplot.
Right.
Like, here's what I appreciate most about these animated movies. Everything is tight. Every scene plays into the story.
Yeah, that's true.
Both with Mask of Phantasm and with this. When it's a 2-hour live action thing, suddenly it's just like, let's go on this tangent and that tangent and everything.
Right.
And it's better written, really, when it's more concise and when it's more in this animated form of just like, okay, we only have an hour and 6 minutes.
Right.
Let's use every scene as economically as possible.
I mean, there's that scene, I really noticed this, exactly what you're talking about, where they're in the hospital bedroom or whatever, and everybody's like playing their role. Like, what's his name? The cop guy pulls out, he's like, yeah, I got info on this.
Yeah, Bullock,
then, yeah, Bullock, and then I don't know. There was something about that scene that stood out to me.
Shut the door.
Shut the door and all that. Like, I felt like, man, this is written really well. Everything's like falling into place.
I wish more movies were actually like that. Like, get me in and out in an hour, baby. Like John Wick, each one of those movies could have been an hour apiece.
Yeah, story-wise, the John Wick story is maybe like half-hour top.
It's technically a feature if it's over 75 minutes.
Right.
I mean, you could get MPAA, everything on board, 85 minutes. Make an 80-minute movie. Why not?
Yeah, it's not like you can't. It's not like you're crippling the emotions of it, because like Phantasm and SubZero both are fucking emotional. Both of them probably still more emotional than any of the live action ones that we've seen so far.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I think that if you were to show a Batman movie to somebody that hadn't seen one in a long time, or definitely the animated one, this is definitely the one to start off with, because Phantasm, I feel like, is made for the hardened Batman fan. This one is a little bit lighter fare, ultimately.
Yeah, where you kind of like, you know the characters, but you don't need to know that much going in. Like, I think what throws people on what Phantasm is just like seeing how vulnerable Bruce Wayne is, or how Batman is, because they're so used to him being the guy who knows everything and is invulnerable and is the detective and can solve the crime and is just always on top of shit.
Right.
They're not used to seeing him vulnerable. They're not used to seeing his background. They're not used to seeing him truly in love. Mm-hmm. So that's how that one works.
She's like the one that got away, right? Like
Andrea,
really,
Beaumont,
yeah, absolutely. So in this sense, you can kind of see how he can relate to Victor with all the Mr. Freeze stuff, and it's
true.
Beautifully
That's true.
Batman's best moment, and if everyone's wondering what Andrew meant by the OG moment at the end, is when Batman, they get the kid, they get Nora Freeze onto the Batwing. Nobody gives a shit about Belmont and whatever the fuck that guy, Belson. Belson's arguably the actual villain of this movie.
True, yeah.
But then he's just like, if he tells Robin, and he's just like, if I don't come back, you go, you take everyone and get out of here.
Right.
And he has to go back for Victor. It's the compulsion. He has to try and everything, and he does his best, and he gets injured in the process. And obviously, it turns out Mr. Freeze isn't dead, but it's a beautiful moment of him helping Victor and Victor helping them at the end. That I think we kind of knew should happen when we saw the anime series episodes that lead up to it.
Right.
But never really got to see it as well or as well done as it was presented here.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And it seems like even though there's like a thin thread through a lot of the old episodes where Batman has like a great deal of compassion for some of these, like it's like he's the only one who really understands them, knows they need to be stopped, but like some of the villains, he really, they're dimensions of what he is, a lot of them.
Yeah, he's trying, there's the element of the hero who tries to stop the villain from himself.
Yeah.
On top of just trying to save people or save the innocent people. So that's definitely threaded through, because Heart of Ice was the introduction to Mr. Freeze, finding out about Nora and his background and how he had that revenge against Ferris Boyle, in Mark Hamill's first voice role in the show.
Oh yeah.
And then the second one was Deep Freeze, where a Walt Disney type is like kidnaps him, and that was kind of the first time where Batman talked Victor into helping them out and everything. But it still wasn't quite to the level that we saw at the end of this.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, I kind of see the ending as kind of like, Batman as a whole, like he's kind of prejudiced against villains in that sense, and I feel like it's that whole deal once again, where Batman can't, if he let him die, he becomes a criminal. That's him going into the abyss.
Yeah.
Like that's like the line that he won't cross that Joker's always trying to make him cross. Like I feel like you kind of see that at play in this movie where He's like, nobody's dying on his watch. No villains
Yeah.
are dying. He's going to deliver his idea. He's like the delivery boy for Commissioner Gordon. He's going to deliver this motherfucker to Commissioner Gordon. You take care of him. Send him to Arkham. We're going to hopefully not see him break out.
That's even portrayed well at the end of Batman and Robin, where Clooney goes up to Arnold and he's like, I'm taking you back to Arkham. And Arnold's like, kill me.
Yeah.
And he refuses to. And he's like, anyone can take a life. It's saving a life. That's actually true power.
And he makes it at the end
to the
where
heartstrings.
he can research Nora's condition in Arkham in his room at the end of Batman and Robin. Like it's a pretty good ending.
Clooney's best Batman moment is just hands down that's finale. And everyone else talks about the fucking credit card, talks about the nipples on his chest. Nobody seems to talk about that ending. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? That's the actual that's Clooney's actual moment where he becomes Batman.
Suckle one of the nips right at the end just to bring it all home, bring it all nice.
There's a whole story reason for his rubber nipples, everybody.
Yeah, her nipples.
It was a really nice moment seeing like the Bat in SubZero, like seeing the Bat family like crowd around Freeze and like pick that shit up off his leg after it broke
and help him out.
It's almost just like, oh, Victor. When it seems like, honestly, Victor Freeze, his plight, he could probably handle it a lot more productively. He's got really terrible anger issues.
Yes.
For a guy who considers himself to be cold to emotion,
the
one thing that he has any feeling towards is towards his wife. So he is going to do whatever it takes, whatever's possible.
I guess that makes sense.
But that's what it is, though, right? That's what makes him a villain. Is because he'll do it's the any means necessary. I will kill a fucking kid if I have to save Nora. And like that's how he is.
Can't make out with the kid. I mean, you could, but you shouldn't.
He is cold to the feelings of pedophilia.
I was a little suspect when I saw the little Eskimo child.
Konak.
Konak.
There's some random kid in this movie.
My little Inuit boy.
And I'm just like, I was surprised. Kid. I don't remember that at all.
They're really stuck on this island for a long time together.
Yeah, this is some weird things happening.
Freezes suits off,
Starting to get feelings.
He's half naked in the beginning.
That's just how messed up my mind
Oh my god!
But
post this episode.
Let's tackle Mr. Freeze then.
Let's tackle Konak more, bro. Let's just like Freeze did, bro. Okay, no, go ahead.
Konak. I mean, he's arguably Mr. Freeze's Robin in a way because he's like another orphan kid that Mr. Freeze has like adopted for himself and everything. He kind of cares about him.
He's an analog.
Yeah,
he needs a permanent sidekick who's like, kid, chill.
Kid, chill. Dude, it'd be cool if Konak comes
and
back
just
in DC
cool
Rebirth or something. The Legend of Konak.
Konak comes back, but he's got like a backwards hat and a skateboard.
Konak, I like to skateboard.
Then you could be like, you really are too cool for school, aren't you?
I'm totally Frostpunk now.
I'm cool in
Frostpunk, yes. A new band name.
Frostpunk. What were we talking about, Ben? I'm sorry.
Mr. Freeze.
Okay, yes. Go ahead.
So,
Ben.
I mean, did you want to go more into the fact that I know Mr. Freeze is hands down one of your, if not your favorite, one of your favorite Batman villains, Andrew. So I don't know if you want to go further.
The best is obviously Joker, I think, just from an objective standpoint, really is.
But I think we all have our like favorite Batman villains.
I don't know what it is.
Outside of Joker. Yeah.
There's something cool about just stopping somebody in their tracks, for one, and just seeing somebody frozen. I think just that visual is so cool.
It was great. That first shot when it's like it's the whole crew.
Yes,
like
almost.
It's just 2D animation from the 90s or whatever. But that flashlight going over the ice and then just seeing them frozen in time and terror is like such a great visual.
All of them are dead because Batman doesn't know about them.
That's
so
true.
They're all fucking
that's
dead.
A plot hole.
They're all
as long as
hole.
Batman
it's the horror
isn't aware of it, then many people have died out of Batman's complete obliviousness to.
You can't save everybody, man.
Anybody outside of Gotham is like, I couldn't save those fuckers. I don't have to do anything.
In the fucking Arctic, bro. That's outside of Gotham jurisdiction.
Antarctica needs its own superhero. He'd be like bored as hell, but
yeah, where's Frosty?
That's where Konak will become.
Konak's coming over there.
Yeah,
Frostpunk.
Yes.
Is it the Nora element? Because I don't think this character really came together until Paul Dini revised that origin.
I think that's what it is. I think he'd be a C-list, D-list villain, and not.
Otherwise,
I think
he's just Captain Cold for Batman.
The Nora subplot, I think, skyrocketed him into A-list category.
Yeah,
and I think that it depends on where Batman's at in his career and his love life, because I think that also says something as far as like you have this villain that truly loves someone, and then wherever maybe post Beaumont he actually gets it.
That's what I was just thinking about too.
There's a parallel there, but maybe you could play it the other way too, where he's younger and he hasn't Batman hasn't fallen for anybody yet. Not like Mr. Freeze has for Nora. So I think that there's so much you can do writing-wise there.
Yeah, that's true.
You know? Like, I think it might even actually work better for a younger Batman and being like, maybe even at first he doesn't get him. He doesn't get it. And then maybe Alfred says some bullshit, I don't know.
Yeah.
Size of a tangerine in my
Size
heart.
of
or
a tangerine.
yeah, or I don't know what it is. But yeah, I
Size
think
of an
that
ice cube.
there's a lot, there's just so much. He's such an empathetic villain.
Yeah.
And it's the voice, too, obviously, Michael Ansara's voice.
Yeah, he's the voice of Mr. Freeze you pretty much read in the comic.
So good, man.
It's like everything else. He's kind of underrated because everyone talks about Conroy and Hamill, but very rarely about the other guys.
Is he famous for any other voice
He was
roles?
a Klingon.
Oh, really?
In the original Star Trek show.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's right.
Nice.
He just died a couple years ago.
What? Yeah.
Five,
Oh,
6, 7 years
voice
ago.
is dead?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, oh well.
But he will live
He
on.
will be missed.
No, he's amazing, and if you think it's funny, you look in terms of how many times Mr. Freeze showed up. He didn't actually show up that often.
Yeah.
It was Heart of Ice, Deep Freeze, and then this movie, and then maybe like one more, and then he showed up in Beyond, and that was it. So that was like 5 appearances.
Oh, yeah, and Beyond, he shows up where he
he's
starts
been frozen.
sweating. He starts sweating, and it's snowing out.
So,
Something
yeah,
like
I
that.
vaguely remember it. I need
He's
to
got
rewatch that
like
episode.
blasters on each hand or something.
Is that the
That
new
big-
suit?
yeah.
I haven't seen it in
Yeah, I
so
think so.
long, man.
It's pretty cool because like even though he's not like as consistently terrorizing Gotham as a lot of the other villains are, he's like when
Right.
he is in action, it's like totally like this dude is near unstoppable because of his ability, because of his genius and his drive, because of Nora and everything. So it's cool that he's only been utilized as far as the animated series and stuff so little by comparison to some of the other villains, but he's just like such an like intimidating threat that when he does show up, it's just like, okay, stop everything.
Yeah.
Everybody freeze. No, I'm kidding.
I think I heard that whenever they first got him in Ansara to do the voice, he was told to not be that emotional. Like you're a cold personality. And he said it was just, I think it was something like it was just strange to go in for an animation role and
not
to
be
play it
animated.
real straight.
Yeah. A lot of that comes across though, and I think that's what makes it so iconic.
Yeah.
Is just the way he leads into each line. It's
Right,
just like,
right.
shut the fuck up, get out of my way.
right. Now it's the
I'm
only
talking
way.
now.
Deanie made it like that's like the only way he should be played anymore. Like when it showed up in the it was DLC in one of the Arkham games, the free subplot. I think it was on Ansara or somebody that was.
It was
doing
Maurice LaMarche doing an impersonation. It sounds like of
like
Ansara.
similar.
right. It was in his vein. Yeah.
And Arnold's take was
That was
way on
that
the
was
other side of the
Arnold's take.
spectrum.
I mean, that
right?
was Arnold, as it was covered in the other one, like, when Arnold wasn't actually talking, he was great.
Yeah.
Like, the facial expressions of when he was looking at the memories of Nora or the figurine he makes of her when he's in Arkham, or the part where the tear comes down his face and turns into an icicle. Like, it's great. And then he opens his mouth and makes an ice pun, and then he just ruins it.
Yeah.
At that point, like, it's just, it's such a contrast. I'm just like, couldn't we just Terminator this shit and just have him not say much throughout it? Or if he did say it, he could, because Arnold could totally pull off this type of a delivery.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
He just has to channel Terminator and Terminator 2
Right.
in the role.
Yeah.
And that would have been great. They just turned him into a guy constantly with the puns and has to keep doing the whole ice thing with it.
Wolfie didn't see it with us. He hasn't seen it
The
recently.
Batman Robin.
Yeah.
But like, dude, it's ridiculous. It's. I thought it was an exaggeration over the years.
Uh-huh.
It's almost every single line.
If
he
you do a
says.
drinking
like a pun.
game, you will be on the floor dead in the
Yeah.
first 10 minutes.
Yeah, there's maybe two or three lines literally where he doesn't have a
Where
pun.
he's like straightforward. And,
Every line,
I have
dude.
to watch
Almost
it.
every
again.
line.
I'm sad I missed that viewing.
Oh, dude, it was okay. It was okay.
You guys ever
His
notice how
Nora
George
scenes are
Clooney
decent.
kind of like his head kind of like wobbles when he talks?
Clooney, yeah, that was distracting. I don't know if you noticed this, Andrew. I didn't bring
He's
this
got
up.
a bobblehead.
Clooney has a
Yeah, he
bobblehead
does.
throughout it.
And it
It's
works
just
really
like-
well for most of his career, but then like Batman, I'm just like,
Shouldn't be moving.
Especially when he's in the helmet, so
like,
the
they should have
ears are
put
everything and highlights it.
more foam in the neck for Clooney.
we want you to turn your head less.
I don't know. He's just too. That's why Ocean's 8 works, because it just seems like he's listening to music that nobody could
right.
hear.
Oh.
Right.
Anyway, I love George Clooney.
Yeah, I mean, oh brother, bro. Anyway,
Nice.
any more Mr. Freeze? What are your thoughts on Mr. Freeze in general? Do you have any at all?
Nothing specific. He does stand out as being like what you were saying, like for him not being around so much, he just like rose to the A-list of the rogues gallery. Just 'cause it's like,
right.
I would actually love to take somebody from the 60s show and do what Dini did with them, because I think I saw that a lot of times, like, sure, it was a rogues villain from the comic. A lot of times they made shit up.
Yeah,
on
like
the 60s,
the Pharaoh.
Yeah, yeah.
Clock King? That was later taken by Arrow or something?
Clock King was in
awesome.
the comics, though.
Oh, he was.
Like, some of them were made up, and a lot of them were women. A lot of them were femme fatales that were not incorporated. There was even someone named Black Widow.
Yeah.
Who wasn't
really?
the actual, like, Marvel Black Widow, obviously. But I'm just like, why haven't we, especially with this whole, like, you know, when you look at the selection of female villains, you got Catwoman, Talia, and Poison Ivy. That's it. That's fucking it in terms of, like, how many you got. Like, why not spruce it up and add some more who have already were established?
That one badass lady from the animated series? She was like Red
Claw?
Yeah, Red Claw. She was awesome.
She was made up for the anime. Like, it's weird. They made a lot of these up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's Harley Quinn, too. But still, like, Harley Quinn's the only one who, like, was made up and then actually transferred the comics and, like, stayed. Everything else...
Montoya.
Is...
Montoya.
She's a morally ambiguous character. Just can't call her evil, really.
Oh, yeah, if you're going for the question part. But, yeah, like, I think there needs to be more of reinventioning or reimagining of these types. There was a really cool... The latest that I've seen is Tom King taking on Kite Man.
Kite Man?
Kite Man.
It's ridiculous, but...
resurrection of...
Keep saying Kite Man, hell yeah, I'm Kite Man. He keeps getting caught.
Yeah.
And then...
Doesn't he have, like, a really sad story?
It is, yeah, so it turns out that in the past, he worked for the Joker, and the Joker only kept him alive because his real name was Charles Brown. And Joker thought that was funny because Charlie Brown and everything like that. But he would always keep getting beaten up by Batman, and then his...
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
His kid, Charlie Jr., I think, or something, like, always liked to fly kites and everything, and his kid would keep saying hell yeah and everything, and then, you know, his dad would be like, hey, don't say that word, because if you keep saying that word, it means you'll go into that place. So Joker ends up going to war with Riddler, and Riddler poisons Charlie Brown's kid. Okay. And when Charlie Brown is on the deathbed, he says, does that mean I'm going to go to the place? And then he dies.
Oh, man.
And Charles Brown Sr. takes on the kite as a tribute to his son and shows up at Joker's doorstep. And Joker's like, what the hell? And then he's like, I'm Kite Man. Hell yeah. And Joker's like, all right.
It's like a perfect balance of, like, ridiculous and sad. It's like perfect. It's like the best writing ever. It's like, oh my God. And then he ends up Limited series.
Wow.
He ends up helping
I actually did
Batman.
not know about any of this.
Yeah. No, he
I
helps
remember reading about it in Wizard or something.
Yeah, like Batman helps Kite Man take down Riddler at one point.
Kite Man just sounds like Calendar Man, where it's just like it sounds so lame on the surface.
But even
Calendar
Jeff
Man's
Loeb,
actually more of a threat. Kite Man was just
Jeff Loeb
kind of
turned Calendar Man into like Hannibal Lecter in A Long Halloween, and then he kind of became interesting.
Yeah, I guess the more you think about it, it's more like a serial killer name in a way. The Calendar Man.
That's what's tough about all these like reboots of Batman is that like the mainstream audience only knows a certain amount of these like rogues, and there's been so many to come out, especially like what you're saying with the cartoon, how they've like done a lot to invent it to make more interesting episodes and stuff. But man, it's like
it can't always be Joker or Catwoman.
Yeah, I thought the Batman should have been about Court of Owls, man. That would have been sick,
I mean, that's really the one to make if they do it. If they do a new one.
Such a good story. And
But I get
Bruce
it if they're trying
directly,
to do a Long Halloween type story now.
Yeah.
And then
that's what everybody's saying now. You think that's what it is?
I don't think it's literally the Long Halloween. I think it's that type of story because that one is
Totally,
a mystery with a rogues gallery type of thing. So it makes sense. But
it's the perfect way to get so many villains into one movie.
Yeah,
you know, you kind of appease.
It's either that or Arkham.
Yeah, exactly. You appease the studio with adding all these stupid characters. Not stupid, but the need to have so many in one movie is stupid without losing quality.
Yeah, you have to come up with a way where it makes sense,
right?
And everything, and I think that's a good way to do it.
Hey everybody, it's Andrew. I just wanted to tell you about our friend Israel's retro gaming shop, RetroCo. If you go to retro-ko.com, you'll be able to see all of his retro gaming goodies. If you wanted to get that Sega Saturn hidden gem from back in the day, or if you wanted to get the Famicom disk system that you never got as a kid, or any other type of retro game that you were into, or import game, please go to retroco.com. That's retro-ko.com. And if you use the SuperHouse code Johnson's Ballsack, you'll be able to get a little bit of a discount at checkout. So please, once again, if you could just go to retroco.com. You can also go to facebook.com/retroco with no hyphen. That's RETROKO. You'll be able to find him on Facebook as well. If you were looking for that PlayStation import game that you never got, if you were looking for that Mega Drive game that you never got, or any other kind of retro game, any import game, it could even be European, Israel also curates bundles at RetroCo, and he'll curate that bundle just for you. So please, go check him out. If you put in the code Johnson's Ballsack at checkout, you'll receive a SuperHouse discount. Everybody's a suspect. A whodunit. I mean,
It's gotta be detective.
That's what he keeps saying.
That's detective, yeah.
Anyway, back to SubZero.
Yeah, right.
SubZero.
Well, so any more Freeze talk before we move on?
I mean, I don't know if there's much more to say about Freeze or the movie in general. I mean,
He's blue.
We loved it. I mean, it was great to rewatch. I think whatever they do with the Freeze character in the live action movies, this and the Heart of Ice episode that's definitely the blueprint.
Yeah,
on
for
that.
sure. Yeah.
Leaning away from the ice puns, obviously, and more into like what is the core emotion. That's why the best stuff from Batman and Robin is the stuff that has to do with his wife, or the stuff about the fact that he used to be a good man and everything. That's why it's a great moment at the end where Clooney tells Freeze, "I'm like, and maybe in the process you'll save the man that your wife loved.
Right.
You know, help me save Dr. Victor Freeze." Everything.
I mean, okay, so you brought up again about like how they would use Freeze again, how they would write him again, and
because at some point you know it's going to happen.
Batman. So
maybe, yeah.
I mean, again, like I said, this is supposed to be Robert Pattinson's Batman. Is supposed to be a younger Batman.
He's like 32, yeah.
So like not year one, but close to that time period. So I think that I'd like to see my version hit the screen. You know what I'm saying? Like
of him being
he doesn't quite he gets it sort of,
right.
But he doesn't quite get it on
understand love.
A Batman
level.
A Batman that's learning is very interesting compared to a Batman that already knows like some shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's then like that's what Affleck played. He's just like, I got a gadget for every thing coming at it. That's why he always seemed like the most calm in like the Justice League and whatever.
Exactly, and like what does the villain say to the hero?
Yeah.
It's got to say something.
Yeah.
You got to learn something.
Everything should be a learning experience for this Batman.
Yeah, exactly.
It would be really cool, especially he's facing off from what we know against multiple villains and stuff. So those are all dynamics of what he's meant to become later.
They're saying it keeps talking about Penguin too, but I feel like even that might be like a, I don't know.
I think he'll be in it. I don't know if he's the main guy.
I feel like Penguin's like the Falcone of this story or something.
He could
like
be.
He's like British
exactly.
to these other,
he's like the Fat Man from the Maltese Falcon. Like, he's definitely the criminal, but he's not like. There's not going to be a ton of. I'm not expecting a ton of exploration or him being the main villain in this one. But
I need some Rupert Thorne.
Let's talk about real quick before we head on to the next subject is anything else to say about the Robin and Batgirl subplot, or
it was cool that they were at the forefront of like a lot of the action and stuff. Like, really, I think another thing now that would be crucial is introducing the Bat family, because we've seen so much of just Batman. Like it show what Bruce was able to pass on, or what Batman was able to pass on. I think SubZero really does a good job of like painting both Barbara and Robin as fucking
because I know they did
right.
There was going to originally have Whedon do a Batgirl movie, but then that kind of like fell off.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
And I'm just like, why don't, especially now that like now there's the Batwoman show and everything, obviously like female leads is a hot thing right now. So I'm like, why not do a Batgirl thing and tie
Barbara
it into
needs her
everything.
day in the sun, man.
Yeah, there was some rumor that the guy that directed Drive was supposed to direct that.
Oh yeah,
Nicholas Winding Refn.
Yeah.
That'd be weird. That'd be cool.
Mean, at least his DP needs to do it. Yeah. Say that much. Like that'd be very cool visually.
I mean, she's ripe for the picking right now. And I think Nightwing, is that still going through? Probably not.
I have no idea. I think it seems as if they might have. The thing is now it's like
I forgot about that.
It would have made sense when it was Affleck, where it's just like, all right, he's been established for 20 years in Gotham. Now it's just like, oh, it's Pattinson, and this is like his second year maybe in the cowl or something. He's supposed to be a young Batman. I don't know if it's year one type of thing, but
year two,
year two or year three type of situation. So I'm like, okay, so obviously Nightwing would be like way off right now.
Yeah,
like we
yeah.
wouldn't be seeing that. Batgirl probably not so much. We don't even
Robin's
know who,
probably
who
not even
Gordon is.
sperm yet.
maybe
At
maybe
this
not.
point. He ain't even a swimmer yet.
He is. We'll have to see if they incorporate, because like Pattinson is legitimately at an age where maybe he's already adopted Robin, but
And
maybe
he is supposed to be a good
it's-
detective at this point as well.
Yeah, so I don't know how
yeah,
much
I
certain
think-
level of
He
experience
keeps
is
talking about it's going
required.
to be a detective story.
Yeah, but he needs somebody to go ping off of. So it could be Alfred, could be a Robin.
Right.
We don't know. The only person who's been cast is Pattinson. We don't know who's going to be in this thing.
Yeah, I know.
So we'll have to see. There have been interesting rumors, though, about other Batman villains, considering that we also have a Suicide Squad movie
Yeah.
coming out.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Let's head into this. Are
Because
we
we-
pretty much done with SubZero talk?
I think we are.
so.
I mean,
How
look,
many
here's-
indeeds?
There's not much else we can say about this.
Let's talk about Batman. We gotta finish it out with just the talk of Batman. I guess we already did with the OG movie.
Kind of
at the
did,
end.
yeah. I mean, there's not enough of there's not a lot of Batman in this movie. There's not a lot of like controversial things about this. Everybody likes this movie. We like this movie. We like the Mr. Freeze in this. Like, there's not really
Solid.
much else we can talk
Just a
about.
Solid.
There's a good chunk in the middle, but Batman's, he does the detective work with the blood shit.
Yeah.
And then he definitely is MVP at the end of it. So, yeah.
I mean, this
there's
is
not a lot-
Batman
there's-
in his prime. He doesn't really have a story arc in this one. It's all about Barbara.
Yeah,
and
there's
Mr.
no arc.
Freeze.
He has no real arc in this.
Yeah, but he doesn't need
No
to.
internal arc.
Yeah, because it's pretty much just an extended episode of the show where it could just focus on Barbara
Right,
and
right,
Mr.
right,
Freeze on it, and it'll be fine. And it's fine because of the fact it's tied into the TV show.
Before we head into the Suicide Squad talk,
Sure.
I wanted to just bring up as a finale on our SubZero talk is on Rotten Tomatoes currently. It has a 92% from critics, and then
SubZero?
a 67 from audience.
What?
SubZero?
SubZero does.
It's because it was marketed to be straight to video. I bet that was a factor in its overall
but then-
reception, maybe.
But why-
Well,
why
not
Why would
now, I
audiences
guess.
not like it? That's the thing.
I don't know, because I feel like
There weren't
if
enough
you
ice
like the
puns.
animated show,
Snobs.
like it's like this should be up your alley, man. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, probably a lot of people just even of our age group don't even know about it for whatever reason.
Probably.
Could be like,
Also,
Yeah.
if you're going on Rotten
It's like
Tomatoes,
Lost in
window
time.
of when
Yeah.
we're starting high school or whatever.
if you're going to Rotten
Right,
Tomatoes to
right,
rate
right.
it, though, then you've seen it, and
Yeah.
then to not.
Some people are
I
just
don't know.
dirtbags, man.
Dude, check this out.
They're just trolling Rotten Tomatoes.
So
Get a
there's
life.
only 13 critic reviews, by the way,
Mm.
and it says user ratings. I can't believe this, but I guess maybe 77,000 people
Say it sucks.
say it's at 67%.
God, 77,000 people are dumb as hell.
This is definitely one of the
And
better.
that's a small portion of the overall population, really.
I mean, this
so.
is-
For sure,
we know
Yeah.
the count is actually much bigger.
Yeah.
in
we
terms of
we know
idiots.
we know the critics are right in this
This is a
scenario.
This is one of the better. I mean, this is one of the better Batman movies in general. But
Yeah.
I'd say this is up there with some of the top Batman movies. Batman
It
animated movies.
is. It is.
I wouldn't
sure.
put it above Phantasm, but it's definitely there when it comes to the emotions.
Phantasm's on a whole other level, though. I feel
Phantasm,
like.
yeah. I mean, look, in my mind, I'm like, you're not really gonna beat Phantasm, but like
Citizen
this is a
Kane.
close one.
This is close. I think the weakest part about the movie is Batman not really having an arc. But then again, it's like it kind of gets away with it because
doesn't
there's
need
just
to,
been
yeah.
so fucking many of them, and this is more about.
And the official title
I
is
don't
just Sub-Zero, isn't it? Just the bat insignia with Sub-Zero in it.
Kinda,
Yes.
So it's kind of like, yeah, Batman's here, but there's a lot of other shit going
That's
on.
true. This is a whole universe of shit. This is the
Yeah.
animated universe. So,
Yeah.
any other trivia?
Not really. I mean, apparently this movie was delayed because of Batman and Robin.
Oh right, yes.
Oh,
The
yeah.
release
Yes.
of it, they were
Like,
just
we're-
like, "Oh,
better hold
okay."
off.
Like, yeah, like people don't like Batman so much. I'm like, no, it's not because they don't like Batman. It's because of the people at the time. As we talked about this in the last episode, like they didn't like the cheesiness or the campiness of it, and they weren't ready for a 66 update update of the 66 Batman.
Yeah.
And it
no
which
one
it
wanted
definitely
that
was.
back then.
Yeah.
Schumacher.
And in
Right,
retrospect,
yeah.
it's kind of interesting that it went that way, Like,
Yes.
it was very much like the campiness of those older movies or the older shows or whatever.
Yeah.
That's
I
kind
mean,
of cool. Just
I
to
was
have
like-
it, just to have it there on the shelf. And be like, that's fucking weird.
I was like 12, and I was like prepubescent and
Yeah.
wanting just dark, edgy stuff at that time. So
Yeah,
I
and I think
definitely
so many
did
people
not
did.
like,
Too.
what
like
the
it.
fuck is this?
I want Mortal Kombat. The other big one on IMDb trivia is that Batman creator Bob Kane died 8 months after the film's release, making this film the last adaptation of the character that Kane would ever live to see.
I guarantee you, Batman and Robin just fucking
Killed
pummeled his
That killed
immune
him.
system
That
that
killed
year
him.
before, and he's just like, oh, I don't know if I could take another Batman
Bob
film.
Kane
It's like,
probably
I got
never
another
even
one
saw
called
SubZero,
coming
bro.
out. He did?
Probably never even saw it.
Yeah, no.
Maybe he did. I don't
He
know.
probably doesn't even, at that point, he's probably
I
just
mean-
trying to figure out how to.
Not to be callous, but Bill
Live.
Finger died before even the '89 movie. So at this point, I'm just like, whatever.
Really?
That's true.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's true. Fuck Bob Kane. Just kidding. All right, I guess we can move on into Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
So in terms of why I bring this up, so Scottish actor Peter Capaldi has been cast in Suicide Squad, and that's notable because Suicide Squad is known for having a lot of the DC villains as part of it.
Deep cuts.
Yeah, and
Kite
he
Man.
is apparently.
Nathan Fillion, Kite Man, please.
If they have the origin that I just described, that'd be amazing, actually. But yeah, Peter Capaldi shaved his head for the role recently. Said that it was for Suicide Squad. Couldn't reveal who it was. Did say that there would be some use of prosthetics and everything, and that was about all that he gave. So
Yeah.
there is speculation in the fan community that he's going to be Mr. Freeze.
Yeah. That'd be a cool way to get him in there.
I'll
Such
take Freeze any
wacky-
which way,
Oh,
really.
right, yeah.
Basically, and I was telling Ben off the air, like, DC's movies don't really connect. I mean,
Anymore, not with
The-
the Joker movie coming out.
there's
yeah.
some rumor that Wonder Woman 84 doesn't connect with Wonder Woman 1. It's
Which is
a
weird as
James
fuck.
Bond
Yeah.
type of thing where it's like a reboot of each time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like
All about
DC
that
is
Kristen
really
Wiig.
hardcore about not connecting anymore because they suck at it. So what I'm trying to say is if they have Mr. Freeze in this, it doesn't necessarily have to connect with the Pattinson Batman at all. So I wonder, like if it's hopefully it's good, but if it does suck, it's James Gunn doing it. Seems like it'd be pretty cool, but
Yeah, it'd be
Yeah, we'll
cool.
see.
You know-
Especially if it still maintains either the R rating or just a certain level of edginess that he's been used
Right.
to doing,
Yeah.
because like even Guardians as like fun and like it's a little bit edgy here and there, but
like
it's
a
really
neutered version
very
of it.
subdued for James Gunn.
dude, in Guardians 2, it opens up with like dead bodies raining from the sky.
Yeah, I guess.
Remember that?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
It's like they got
Yeah.
away with that with PG-13, man. Like, holy fuck.
His natural inclination is to be as like disturbing
Right,
or
that's true.
edgy
Which
as
makes him a good fit
possible.
for
So
it.
with Suicide Squad, I think, and like the tagline on his Twitter post or whatever was
Yeah.
like, "Don't get too attached"
Yes,
or whatever.
yes,
Like,
I love
dude,
that.
Like this is
I love that, man.
to
So,
see
who
him in his
knows?
element again, especially after Guardians, and then the whole controversy of him getting fired and then hired and all that stuff. Like,
again. Yeah.
I think he's like, it's gonna be cool.
For him to have like a new playground to play with, I
Yeah.
feel like maybe like Guardians 2 was good, but it
Yeah.
wasn't because of the first one. We have some diminishing returns
Yeah.
there, I think. With this, he might go straight back to Guardians 1 magic.
Especially with Suicide Squad, like it's already a gamble because expectations are low.
Right,
But I think
right,
his
right.
level of like success is going to be indicative of like, well, not that it's indicative of anything, but like just it's kind of a curveball out of left field.
Yeah,
I think he's
right.
going to really own it.
Right.
And why not? Like it's kind of cool. Like if I was him, I mean, I'm sure he's excited, but like after like being like anything I do is gonna be better than that piece of shit.
That's true.
And
That's
I
true.
know what I gotta do is quality,
Yeah.
you know. So it's like,
That's very true. I'm just curious who everyone is playing. You got a hell of a cast here. You got Idris Elba. We don't know who he's playing.
Yeah.
Nathan Fillion. Taika Waititi's into this.
is Diablo not coming back? It doesn't
No, it
look
doesn't
like
look
it,
like
huh?
he's not listed. The only ones coming back seem to be Viola Davis, Margot Robbie. I'm just like, of course.
representation.
that's-
And then Joel Kinnaman. I'm just like, really? You're going to bring back Rick
Yeah.
Flag out of all the guys
yeah.
from the previous one? Oh, yeah, and Jai Courtney. Jai
Right,
Courtney's
yeah.
back as Captain Boomerang.
Oh, he's back.
He's back as
Yeah.
Captain Boomerang.
So this is definitely like they're not looking at the old one. At the
Probably
Well, what do you
not.
mean?
that guy died in like the first like 5 seconds. of the
No,
movie.
No,
you're thinking
that's-
of
that's
Slipknot.
Slipknot. That's
Yeah.
right.
No,
Right. right,
Captain
right.
Boomerang
Slipknot's dead.
was like
Boomerang
a fan
is the guy,
favorite.
yeah.
Like
Oh,
that's what I
yes,
read. I
yes,
didn't
yes,
think
yes.
he stood out very.
He didn't.
much.
They
No,
didn't
I
do
don't- I don't
like
think so either.
People were like, "Oh my god, I love Captain Boomerang." I'm like, really?
Yeah,
I remember
no, they
like
didn't
two
use him very
things
well.
from that movie. One, Margot Robbie, was she in that?
Yes.
Yeah.
and then two. Okay, yes, I barely remember. Two is that stupid ass Will Smith shooting scene,
Oh yeah.
and the
thing was
the
lame.
daughter scene or whatever with Batman showing up. Like that was just so fucking stupid.
Oh right.
God, fucking stupid ass alleyway. Like,
remember any of
oh
that.
God. No
Don't
wonder
even
you
do
don't
this in front of
connect
your
shit
daughter.
anymore.
We might have to revisit that because we're doing a revisit of the Batman
Yeah.
movies. You realize that? It's technically a
That's
Batman
going to
movie.
be way down the line. Let's put it that way. Let's put that after the
Well, with the
serials.
extended-
That's going to be
Yeah,
after
Justice
everything.
League.
That's going to be That's going to be like the fucking like the last, bro. In my
Yeah,
opinion.
well, we ran out of material, so as well.
We do have so
By the time we get to it, the new Suicide Squad is going to come out.
Kinda
so.
is-
might be perfect timing.
it would be perfect timing to do a revisit at that time,
Yeah.
but
Maybe.
it is kind of a sequel. So I don't know necessarily if there are any Batman villains, if they
Yeah.
would still kind of be tied into the Ben Affleck version of Batman, especially if this is Mr. Freeze, if because Capaldi's on the older side in his late 50s. I don't know how familiar you guys are with Peter Capaldi as an actor in anything, but he's famous for being Malcolm Tucker, who was in The Thick of It and In the Loop, which is the movie, but who's famous for just being foul-mouthed and like the ultimate spin doctor. So he can definitely play cunning and mean when he can be. And then he was the 12th Doctor in Doctor Who, so he can definitely play the scientific element, the cold-heartedness sometimes of that.
Would he be better suited for Riddler, though, you think?
He's old for a Riddler.
Okay, so Freeze is better for him.
I see Freeze is better for him. Also, his second cousin is the singer Louis Capaldi, who did the song "Someone You Loved," and Peter Capaldi is in that music video as a husband mourning for his wife.
Oh my God!
All the pieces are there.
Deep cuts.
James Gunn's a huge
Deep
music
ass
fan.
cuts.
He's
That's
probably
true.
like, oh my God.
Yeah,
it's all coming
because
back.
and he has no. It's a music video, so he has no dialogue. So he has to sell the grief just from his face
Okay.
in the whole music video, and he's amazing in it. Like some people are brought to tears just from his performance alone
Okay.
in that music video. So
Okay.
he's amazing in that. Also, I kind of just wanted to hear him swear as Malcolm Tucker to Pattinson's Batman.
That's
if he
not
ever
gonna
is
happen,
Mr. Freeze. He's my icy balls, you Twilight fuck. So I don't know. It's probably not going to happen, but it's one of those choices where I'm like, look, it's likely he's not Mr. Freeze, honestly.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see it happen, and just the idea of it excites me because I like him as an actor, and I think he can pull it off. We'll see who he actually plays.
Hugo Strange.
I would love it as Hugo. He would be great as Hugo Strange.
That's true. Oh yeah, you've been wanting Hugo Strange forever.
I'm a big your love for Mr. Freeze, it's my love for Hugo Strange.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He's an interesting villain.
Do you have a favorite like Batman villain?
Two-Face?
Two-Face.
Probably.
Okay.
Two-Face needs to
The duality. I'm all about like
Yeah.
the
Right,
duality.
right.
And then the friendship that's there was there, and
I think they
Inner
misuse
conflict.
Two-Face too much.
Yeah.
They don't use him very well.
he's at his day in the sun too.
They need to explore the stuff that you just talked about in terms of
Yeah,
we were
totally.
friends, we were allies once, that type of thing. The elements of him trying to save Harvey from himself. You know, there's like a comic where Two-Face like takes a chainsaw at a bunch of people, and I'm just like, really, dude? Like, why Two-Face on this? Like, he's supposed to be.
I'm gonna make you two people here.
Like, you know,
Cut
we saw
everybody in half.
Yeah,
the Batman Forever version. It doesn't really
Yeah.
explore a lot of him. Two-Face in The Dark Knight was basically Harvey Dent on a rampage for 5 minutes. Like, they haven't really done
True.
Two-Face justice
That's true.
in a movie, animated or live action.
I mean,
really.
the animated series, that 2-part episode,
Yeah, I
the
mean,
classic
that's right.
animated, like
Yeah.
that's a fucking movie right there. Like,
Yeah.
that's a classic. But
And amazing in that. But
Yeah.
I would love to see it. I'd love to see him as Two-Face properly
Yeah.
done. I think they did Harvey Dent well in The Dark Knight. Two-Face got shortchanged the process, which we can get into when we ever get to the Dark
Yeah.
Knight
Right.
episode of that. But
That'll be an epic episode
yeah,
for sure.
we got a lot on those. But yeah, so Two-Face, Mr. Freeze, Hugo Strange for me. Especially because Hugo Strange hasn't even shown up yet in any of the movies.
You
I
also
was
turned me
wondering
on
about
to Man-Bat last episode.
Yes.
Man-Bat's cool.
I didn't-
Honestly,
I
a
didn't
movie
know
with
that much.
Clayface would be cool, but that's like
Oh
you
yeah,
just couldn't do
that's
it.
my
I think.
other. That's my other.
Yeah.
You could
Just
do
from that
Clayface on
episode.
yeah.
Yeah, it's so good. Like that
Yeah.
tale of his too about like the actor who just like he has this ability to maintain his handsomeness or whatever after being like scarred, and then but it's all unstable. I don't know. Clayface would be cool, but just like how do you fucking do that? It seems like in order to get Batman to like work on screen, there has to be a certain level of like realism for it to.
Could be, but
could.
it depends on what their take is. I mean,
Yeah.
they could do it. It would just
Affleck
really
could have fought him.
It would really need those those really good emotional beats, man, and the
Yeah.
horrific beats too.
Yeah.
I
Whenever
would.
he's
Yeah, I had a
you know?
dream once of. I dreamt a Clayface movie. I think I told you about this.
Fuck yeah.
It was like in the style of like a body horror pick.
Yeah,
It'd be incredible. Yeah,
that's
that's
really
that's a good way to
cool.
do it.
Actually.
Yeah, it was like
Cronenberg style Batman film.
Yeah, like Basil Carlo is like he's an actor, but he's disfigured, and then he tries this thing, and then it's like, what's happening to my body? And then he finds out all the other people who've been affected by this and everything, and who are also kind of the other, because there's more than one Clayface in the comics, so you can have all those characters in one movie that's just a Clayface movie, and then he has to decide like who he has to be, and at the end he finds the Roland Daggett character, who's the corporation dude who's responsible for it, and he chooses his like what he's going to be and what he becomes, and he just fucking kills the guy with all his clay and everything like that. And then at the end, kind of like at the end of like Split, where it's just like, okay, here's the end of the villain, and then you cut to the Batcave and the Batcomputer, and just like they're calling this group the Mud Pack, and they're calling them Clayface, and then you cut to Bruce Wayne.
You
He's
had
like,
this
oh
whole
shit!
dream.
I dreamt this, yeah.
Oh my god! Did you read Clayface comic or watched? The
I don't
show?
know. I just had a random thing. I think
that could be cool.
It was a dream that started as a body horror, because I dreamt I was somebody who was going through the body horror thing, and then I kind of turned it into I'm Clayface and I'm going to kill this motherfucker, and I'm turning it into my own Batman movie. And then at the end, I think I woke up.
Your dreams.
And then I woke up. And then I woke up, and then I came out with the Bruce Wayne ending, because I'm just like, well, the whole movie has already been mapped out. It's like this Cronenberg fly.
That's kind of cool.
Thing.
So it's more about the story of.
It's more about the story of Clayface to set him up before we go into why Batman's fighting him and everything like that. And you could make it a whole identity thing of like Bruce Wayne's not sure.
That could
who
be
he
a cool
is
like
type of thing.
DC Direct like film, or is that what it's called?
Like
DC Direct.
They're already doing a Joker
their-
movie, right?
DC Universe.
DC Universe.
DC Universe, yeah.
DC Universe.
That'd be cool.
I mean, they're already doing a Joker.
Yeah, if they did like
Yeah.
a straight to TV movie kind of
Yeah.
thing, like
You have to have a lot of
something like
effects,
that
but
would
they're
be-
able to pull it off
yeah.
with
They can do
Rita
it.
in
Yeah.
Doom Patrol. So
Oh yeah, that's true. That would be
Yeah.
very similar.
she already is
actually.
kind of Clayface in terms of when she goes into that form.
What does Clayface say to Bruce Wayne or Batman, or what does that villain mean to him? You think?
I think it has an identity issue.
Okay.
You got guys who
Okay.
they're both guys who have different sides to them, or switch between identities. Especially if you go with the actor backstory on that. So part of that's identity. Part of it is if you go with an older Batman. The original Basil Carlo he was not like some young stud actor like in the animated series. He was an older dude who was past his prime and stuff and wasn't getting parts.
desperate.
Everything.
Okay.
So now it's about like relevance
Yeah.
and everything, and like dying out and
So maybe this villain would
that
be
could be
better
cool.
for an older Batman.
potentially if you wanted to explore that side,
Yeah,
or a
yeah,
younger
yeah.
one where it's about trying to decide who he is and who you are and identities and like
Reinventing yourself, you think? Or
potentially, yeah, but more on the
something
side of just like pick.
that?
You have to pick a side of like who you are as a
Yeah.
person, type of, or what's your real identity, type of thing. Kind of like what they tried to do with Batman Forever in the original scripts that we talked
Okay.
about.
Yeah.
So deciding who's Bruce Wayne, which side is Bruce Wayne, which side is Batman, all be coming to peace with all those elements. on
So
those.
exploring like vanity is, I guess it doesn't really say much to Bruce Wayne. Though,
Not
does it?
vanity. I think it's just more the identity, the shape shifting ability.
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it is just at the point where there was this awesome scene that they could just steal from the CW Flash, where they had it as Clayface type character named Everyman, and
Okay.
then they asked him to change back into his original form. And he does, but like the face looks freaky because there's not much of a face. There's no eyes. There's barely a nose because he doesn't remember what he originally looked like.
Ugh, that's pretty cool.
See, that would be sweet. That's
Yeah.
like Twilight Zone shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be fucking sweet.
And so that's the cautionary tale element of that.
Right.
Clayface.
And maybe going back to the idea I just had is that I kind of like the idea of it being for an older Batman, because he's starting to lose himself. He's losing Bruce Wayne, you know?
Yeah.
He's been doing Batman for so long. So,
There's
there's a
potential in
parallel,
that too.
there, I think.
It
right?
could.
Yeah.
I think you could do something where it's like Batman's out more and more, and Bruce is nowhere to be found, kind of thing.
Right.
Where he's like, he's doing the good that Batman does, and he's doing it effectively and maybe too efficiently. Maybe getting into that idea of him like succumbing more to like the entity of the Bat than and like losing Bruce, and that becomes pivotal between like the Clayface character or something like that. Right. Cool. Because then he's like, I'm just like this fucking monster.
Right. I love the parallel shit. Like, I think
it
needs
works
to
to
be-
Batman's favor for sure.
Yeah.
Because I mean, all those villains are just like I said earlier. They're just some kind of reflection of him. And
Though we did have trouble with Poison Ivy last week.
We were trying to figure it out, but it's
Oh,
like,
really?
It's like,
Yeah.
how do you do it, man? Like, it's so tough.
Because it's just like as I said, it's an exaggerated version of Greenpeace or something, or just like it's to the point where it's like she values the life of plants over the life of human beings,
Right,
and
yeah.
I'm just like I can't wrap my head around that as a realistic psychological issue.
Yeah.
to like really explore
Right,
what she herself is
Yeah.
a human. Like I'm
That's
just
true.
like I don't get this. Like that's why I've never really I've never
right.
really liked the character that much
Right.
on that. So they're gonna reinvent her in some way.
The writer's like a
Yeah.
seductress, I guess,
Yeah.
which plays to Bruce
Yeah.
Wayne's
It
weaknesses, I guess.
it makes
but-
sense, like the whole environmental terrorist angle and stuff, and like her.
Yeah, but you
her
got Ra's al
love
Ghul for that too. You
Huh?
know?
Like name her for plants.
Yeah, but it can't be just strictly plants, even though she is poison ivy. Like
Yeah.
if you were to write from that angle, it'd be like more environmental, more about like the planet Earth itself, animals and stuff
Oh,
like
yeah,
that. Like
yeah.
could have greater dimension, and Batman being like modeled after like an animal. Maybe like I'm stuck on this. I think like him succumbing
You're
to
gonna
the
figure out-
animalistic.
you're gonna figure out
need,
poison
you know?
ivy.
Yeah.
You're gonna Alan Moore
Yes.
poison ivy.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you had a decent idea last time, Andrew, about
Also
it
wears
potentially
fig
being
leaves.
tied into Bruce's dating life, and like maybe it's not necessarily about plants; it's about her hatred for men and stuff, and it's taking the
Yeah.
not to go on a whole other tangent, but like taking the whole like instead of just the environmental thing too far, also the super feminist take too far as well.
Yeah.
It becomes like destroy all the men type of thing.
That could be interesting.
That might be more relevant to today as an exaggerated form of that.
Yeah.
Some people might be worried about the politics of that when you put that on
Yeah.
film, but
I
that's just
agree with
spitballing.
that.
Yeah.
but I feel
Audiences
like-
would want it flipped. She would be the protagonist. In that.
yeah, I know. In which case, I'm
Yeah,
just like,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
no, that's not how this
Yeah.
works. He's a
Yeah.
Batman villain, everybody.
Some Red Sparrow shit.
But yeah, that's why there's this controversy of Joker, where it's just like, oh, like the hero of this movie is an incel or a sad white man and everything like that. I'm just like, of course it is. That's the whole point of the Killing Joke. Like this is the actual.
Yeah. Oh, this is a whole other topic.
This is a whole other topic. We'll
Do a
go
whole
into this with
episode
the
on this
Joker
one, man.
episode later coming up. Because like, look, we'll have more to talk about when we actually see the goddamn movie. Because I think
Yeah.
people are just going off of. They don't like the idea of hearing that it's about this type of subject matter, and so
Right.
they
It's
rebel
so
against it.
touchy.
But they
Yeah.
haven't actually seen the thing.
Best time to address it.
So I don't know what like. I don't see the need for the controversy or to explore the controversy that much until I actually see the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
True.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost too reasonable what you just said there, Ben.
Could use some more of that in this world, I guess.
Yeah.
It's almost too reasonable.
So I think that wraps. We wrapped with SubZero way back.
SubZero, everybody.
There really
good.
isn't much to talk about with
I mean,
SubZero.
we didn't talk about it that much, but I feel like it's just too fucking good, and there wasn't that much
It
to
really,
say.
it's,
I mean, like,
it stands for itself. It
Yeah.
stands for itself. There's just
It's
there's
a
not-
master class on getting your point across, keeping it entertaining.
yeah.
Yeah,
and
it's just
cutting the fat.
there's just not really anything to it that
Cutting the
like
bat
with
fat.
Phantasm we had a lot of praise, but we had so much to talk about because it was so different from Batman '89, Batman Returns.
right,
Now it's like
right.
okay, we're kind of getting more accustomed to the animated series, we're more accustomed to like character exploration, and
Right,
stuff,
right.
because they've gotten deeper into the character by the time we've gotten to this movie.
I mean, there's hardly any plot hole whatsoever, even the minute stuff, like his leg at the end, too. Like, it just feels like every little detail, the mechanics,
Yeah,
just the mechanics of everything, you know, it's a testament to Dini and everybody involved in this. I don't know, did Dini write this?
actually, let me look this up just to
'Cause
give credit to where credit is.
seemed
due,
like
because it might not
Everybody
have
showed
been,
up to
actually.
work that day.
Yes, pretty much.
When
Everybody's on point.
SubZero was on, it's just like, yeah, we're making this Batman animated movie. Bop, 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 bop,
So
bop.
this movie is credited to. Whoops, I clicked the wrong thing. Hold on.
Well, I give this 9 indeeds.
Yeah.
9.5 maybe.
Say
Yeah.
so-
Shit, this
solid
is maybe a
9.
10. No, I give it a 10. I've given 10s before.
It was not written by Dini.
Who wrote it?
Randy Rogel and Boyd Kirkland.
Boyd Kirkland. That name stuck out to me. I was
Boyd
just gonna say that,
Kirkland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, who is he? What do you
Now
write?
they
He
all.
sounds-
I mean, they both worked on the animated series.
Okay.
So is
Boyd
Dini's
Kirkland.
camp.
He sounds like he'd be a name of a villain in a Batman movie.
Boyd
Boyd
Kirkland.
Kirkland.
Or like a southern dude. Boyd Kirkland.
My name is Boyd Kirkland. He wrote. So I think Randy Rogel wrote. Shit. Hold on.
How many indeeds you give it, Stefan?
I'd say solid 9.
9?
Yeah.
I agree with that.
It was good. I really appreciate the brevity of it.
Okay.
Like, movies are too fucking long.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I gotta
I
beat
get
all
you.
the time. Maybe
When we
I'm
had to
getting-
sit through 2 hours of Batman and Robin, I'm like, okay.
yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
And we just saw It Chapter 2, which was 2 hours
like
and
3
50
hours.
minutes.
Yeah.
What?
It's nearly 3
that
hours.
long?
Yeah, it's
Oh
so
my
long.
God. I do. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing that. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I need to
But
see that too.
you know, I don't hate long movies. I'm just like
Considering the book is again,
Dunkirk, baby.
Yeah.
That shit was.
Yeah. I like this is man. Talk about the tangent episode, but
Yeah.
Dunkirk is just so like what he just done Interstellar.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like he went from the huge movie to like we're going to a small ass. I mean, a World War II, but this is a small movie now. You know, like,
Somebody was
cool.
telling me
That's cool.
that he. I don't know that this is true, but that he only did Batman Begins so eventually he could do Dunkirk with the right budget and the proper execution.
Did he have
Oh,
Dunkirk
maybe.
in his mind for so long?
That's what somebody was telling me. I forget exactly who it was or what the conversation was, but like that seems like a fucking.
It does seem
that's
like
some dedication, right?
I could see Nolan
Because
like Batman not
yeah.
being his
Yeah.
like main driving.
Right, because
line.
he didn't know the comics before he signed on to it.
Right.
He
So I
just
could see that.
he basically had a love for the Richard Donner type. I mean, we're gonna jump into Nolan stuff into like another month from now, but he had a love for the Richard Donner type Superman, and he wanted a Batman movie along those lines
Okay.
of
Yeah.
that in terms of like the origin story and how he became that
Yeah.
and everything. But the mechanics of it and everything, that was all gore in terms of where the
Yeah.
character stuff for that was from the comics and everything. And then I think it just kind of turned into, you know, I'll do Batman. And because you notice, like, he did Batman Begins, then Prestige, then Dark Knight, then Inception, then Dark Knight, right? Like, there was
that's right.
his
He was
own
killing it
movie.
in between.
Yeah.
He does his
Oh,
own movie
for
in
real.
between.
Yeah, that's
So,
right,
like, I
that's
think he
right.
was just like, I'll
That's right.
trade off when
Yeah.
when the time
What a
comes.
workhorse, man!
Dude.
That guy gets
Yeah.
shit done.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now that we're done with SubZero, it
Wait.
looks like,
Indeed. So you said 9.
yeah, I agree with
Yeah.
Wolfie on that.
What gives it the 1 point? What keeps it from being perfect?
Probably the fact there's not a lot of Batman stuff.
Yeah,
Let's see, other things on it are.
No arc. No Batman arc.
yeah.
I mean that would have helped it, but I don't. Might not necessarily be fair to hold it against the movie, but I think it would have helped elevate it.
To me, it's
further.
like
Yeah.
it's like Star Trek Beyond or something. It's like
Uh-huh.
a really solid entry, but
Right.
like easily floats under the radar.
Right,
You know,
right,
just,
right,
yeah,
right,
yeah,
right.
Not bad,
Right.
You know? Like, and that's only an hour, so you have a whole rest of the afternoon to be like, what am I
Right.
going to do
Do a
now?
podcast.
Again, an hour long.
Yes. I think this podcast is
This
longer
podcast is
than the movie.
longer.
It is. I mean, the movies were like 85 minutes or something in the theater.
Yeah.
You could get more bang for your buck. You could have so many more showtimes of that same movie.
You would
you
have
know?
10 It movies
Yes,
at that
10.
point.
Yeah.
Considering that the book is like 44 hours long when you get it on Audible.
Yeah.
I'm still working my way through that. I'm a
Jesus.
fourth of the way in.
Oh my God, I wouldn't be able to do it.
I'm just commuting. I'm just driving around and listening to it. I'll be done when I'm like 40. By the time I'm done
Oh
with
my
it.
God, I like it, but I don't like it that much.
Yeah.
Is that pretty much it, guys?
That's pretty much it for SubZero and all somewhat related
Yeah.
topics in between.
Yeah, right.
So we got a busy month coming up because obviously we got to tackle Batman Begins, which is the next live action movie. So now we're getting into the Nolan Dark Knight trilogy territory. We also have an upcoming Batman related movie, which is the Joker movie. So we're going to see the origin of Batman and the origin of Joker. And we're going to explore what could have been, because along the same lines, since we have a Batman origin movie and a Joaquin Phoenix in the Batman World movie, we have what could have been a Batman movie starring Joaquin Phoenix back in 2003, which is the Darren Aronofsky Batman Year
Right.
One script deep dive.
Was
Ooh,
was
that'll be
Joaquin supposed to
fun.
be Batman?
Aronofsky wanted Joaquin as Batman.
Whoa.
Oh my God,
That's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think he's better suited.
All
for
I remember
Joker.
is
I agree.
Aronofsky saying something about how the Batmobile should be like a Lincoln Town car with a
Bus
like
engine.
a school bus engine
Yeah.
in it or something. I was
Oh
like, I
my
want to see this.
God.
Warner Brothers wanted his take. Like, what would you do? And he's like, I would film it in Hong Kong, and I would get like 1970s Clint Eastwood as Batman.
Oh my God.
Now, keep in mind, these are the execs from like Batman and Robin era, so they're just like, okay, tell us more, because that's different from what we got.
Yeah.
Right.
So you get a Batman Year One movie that's, funny enough, very influenced by the Scorsese Taxi Driver 1970s
Okay.
style stuff, very much like the actual Joker movie that Phoenix is in right
Okay.
now. So it seems inevitable that Joaquin was going to end up in a Batman movie influenced by those movies and is like grounded in realism. Like Aronofsky straight up said, in my mind, Batman is Travis Bickle from Taxi Driver and Gordon is Serpico.
Okay.
So those were the kind of the movies that was influencing him, on top of the fact that it was the actual comic. So we'll dive into that
I
directly
remember hearing
afterward.
news about that, but
Yeah.
I think that was around the time we were graduating college, and like my mind was like I was aware of it, but I was just so. My mind was on graduating.
At that time,
point.
if I read the news, I was certain it was going to happen.
Yeah.
So I was like, this
yeah.
is my favorite director at the time.
Right,
and I'm
right,
just
right,
like, oh my God,
right.
he's doing Batman.
Yeah.
And then it just like falls away.
Yeah, it
and
just
life
fell
takes
apart.
its
Well,
course, and you're just like, wait a minute,
when
whatever happened to that fucking
When
Aronofsky
you find
movie?
it,
Did it ever come out?
the script was ahead of its time. It would have been made
But there was a full
this
script
year.
written.
Is a full script written by him and
That's
Frank
good
Miller.
enough. That's awesome.
And Miller, huh?
And Miller, they co-wrote it. There's a lot of differences from the original comic. A lot of interesting stuff. It's very much weirdly along the lines of what we're seeing with this Joker movie, of something that isn't quite mainstream, would have been R-rated, very much influenced by the 70s, and made a lot of changes to canon that would have been really controversial at the time.
I'm going to end on a hot take.
Yeah.
I think I like Court of Owls more than Dark Knight Returns. Miller does not like Do It For Me as much as everybody
Really?
else does. Yeah, I
Interesting.
think Snyder's better than Frank Miller. To be honest with you.
I didn't like what he did with Mr. Freeze.
Okay, not everything, but I think Snyder's really fucking good.
Well, we'll dive into Frank Miller when we get to the Aronofsky episode. But that's a preview of the upcoming episodes, and I think that's it.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Search for SuperHouse Podcast on whatever social media you're on, and yeah, I'm Thunderwolf Drew on Instagram and Twitter, and
I'm Ben Juan Ryder on Instagram, and I also help out with the Instagram for SuperHouse Pod. So that's SuperHouse Pod. That's POD, and you'll get to see visuals of stuff that we obviously can't show you over audio.
indeed.
I'm Wolfie Cruz, CRUZZ, on Facebook as well as Instagram. Instagram's mostly just like photo shit I take whenever
Nobody's
I'm
going to be
stoned.
searching for you on Facebook.
But I'm going to be more. Yeah.
Go with the
Facebook is
times.
so dead
Yeah.
now, man.
Is
so
it?
dead.
Well, maybe I'll get on Twitter or
For
something.
better or
But I'll be more
worse.
active with the Superhouse posting and publication
that'll be
now
good.
that I'm back in the game. Just moved to LA to fucking podcast with the rest of the crew.
He moved here just to podcast.
Pretty much.
That's a lot of sacrifice.
Anybody need a roommate?
All aboard the SuperHouse train, baby.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm putting this out into the universe. This is big dreams.
Bush
here.
gave me a pretty good advance. So.
Gave him a blowjob.
Oh.
SuperHouse Con 2020. I wonder
Yes.
what would that look like? You know what I mean? Like I want to do SuperHouse convention.
Yeah.
We'll just
Yeah,
be
so
us
start
on a
talking to the
panel
fans,
for
man.
all
Start
day.
Getting up
Really.
close and
That's how-
personal with our
we
fans.
should have a panels. We could
do
it's not that
live
hard-
now.
It's not that hard to get a booth.
Yeah.
At a convention, especially the smaller ones
Let's
like
do
WonderCon
it.
or something.
And then we'll make like fake products. And, well, we can just make stickers
T-shirts
or
or
something.
something.
You guys
and it
got
could be
already
SuperHouse
t-shirts, yeah.
SuperHouse
Yeah.
Con 2020, bro.
We'll slap it on boobies and whatnot.
And dicks.
Yeah.
Ball sacks.
I'll let you guys take care of that part of the marketing. I'll just keep
Work is
curating
work.
Instagram.
You know?
We'll record from jail, Ben.
I'll call in for that one. Use your one phone call on that one.
Wolfie moved to LA for only a month, only to get
Only to get
incarcerated.
Yeah, just. I hope not.
I'm glad we stayed on topic with Batman SubZero, everybody.
Yes. We were on topic for like
SuperHouse
a good
Con
25 minutes.
2020, baby.
There's not much to
Con.
say about this movie. Like, it's
Hey,
good.
let's-
Go see it on
fuck a
DC
booth.
Universe.
Let's rent out an entire convention center just for Superhouse.
Dude,
We'll have
I'm
one
actually not
table in the
against
middle
it.
of the thing and a line out the door.
I'm not against it. Let's do it.
That'd be awesome.
T-shirts, stickers. Anyway,
Come to SuperHouse 2020.
How?
yeah, that's in the universe. But yeah, you know, it's on DC Universe right now anyway. Batman SubZero. Please check it out, especially if you haven't seen it, and if you have liked Batman the animated series in the past, because it's the same team pretty much. It's like the same deal,
Check it out.
and it's really well made. So anyway, this is Andrew signing off.
Is Ben signing off?
This is Wolfie signing off.